Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to OGV Energy Live this afternoon on the theme of international growth. My name's Annabelle. I'm the Group Marketing and Communications Director here at 3T. Hopefully you've heard about us before, but for those of you who don't know us, we are a world-leading provider of safety-critical training and learning. We're doing a takeover for this month's OGV Live, and I've got 4 of my senior leadership colleagues on the line this afternoon who are poised to share some insights about our international growth with you. The past 2 years have particularly been very interesting and exciting for 3T. Last year, we launched a global rebrand across our group of businesses, creating the brand that is 3T today. And this year alone, we've made 2 major acquisitions internationally. One in June in the US, a training company called Allstop, and a further acquisition was made in September with a training company in the Middle East called GTSC. We're now one of the world's leading providers of safety critical training for sectors including energy, renewables, marine, utilities, just to name a few. I'd now like to hand you over to our special guest today, Stuart Broadley, the CEO of the EIC. He's our panel mediator for the day. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to be part of this with us. It really is a pleasure to have you with us here today. So thank you, Stuart. Over to you.
Thank you, Annabelle. You're good at that. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. My name's Stuart Broadley, CEO of the EIC, and I'm delighted to be your host for the next hour for the OGV Energy Live with the theme this afternoon of international growth, something I'm very passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion today. OGV Live is an interactive show which aims to deliver news and insights from the energy sector by bringing to life the UK's leading energy industry publication, which is, of course, OGV Energy Magazine. This month, we are delighted to be doing a special show, and it's on the theme of international growth with one of OGV Group's longest running clients, which is 3T Group. Now, 3T have gone through a transformational change last year, indeed growth last year, and are a great example of a UK-based organisation that have really embraced international growth through acquisition, diversification and integration of cutting-edge technology. So today we will be exploring challenges and milestones of that journey in this OGV Live with 4 key members of the senior 3T management team and providing a window into the culture and strategy, what really makes them tick, that helped to shape one of the most successful global training companies in the market. So without further ado, delighted to welcome our guests for today. They are Gavin Taylor, Vice President of Global Sales, Hani Sagar, Managing Director of MENA, Jamie Purvis, Managing Director of Managed Services, and Chris Booz, Senior Solutions Manager for UK. Welcome to you all. How are you all?
Very good, thank you.
Good, great. Well, in order to keep some kind of process here, I think we'll start with Gavin. So Gavin, let's start with you, and we will bring in then the rest of the team into the discussion over the course of the next hour. So, Gavin, nice to see you. Why don't you tell us a bit about 3T's growth strategy then, and how the business has worked towards the kind of growth that you've seen this year, and as Annabelle touched on, with 2 recent acquisitions.
Yeah, sure, Stuart, and thanks very much for having us on the panel today. I often reflect back on the business which I joined 10 years ago. At the time, I joined a business which predated 3T, which is known as AIS Training, and we were a relatively small single-site training provider based down in Newcastle. We'd always been very customer-focused in our attitude to business, and responding to customer challenges was a key part of what we did. We had this, we were known as AIS, and we had this AI yes mentality, which was we wanted to respond to customers and make sure we were meeting their needs. And that was instilled in us very early on from a very entrepreneurial owner that we had. we always had quite a simple attitude, which was if the customer needs something and we're in a position to be able to provide it, then we'll innovate and make sure that we can fulfill those customer needs, and that would make us a stronger partner to that client. And this attitude has stood us in very good stead over the years. We've always had ambition to expand and increase the business beyond existing geographies, and that started through expansion in the UK. So we moved out of working just principally in the northeast of England, and our first foray in Aberdeen was in 2016, when we aligned in a partnership with Bilfinger to support the expansion of their existing skills centre. For anyone familiar with the oil and gas industry around that time, it was with the backdrop of very difficult market conditions as we entered a difficult market downturn. But we stuck with our principles in terms of what we were trying to achieve and continue to respond to those customer needs. And that expansion was a key moment for us in terms of cementing our position in the market, to enhance our kind of day-to-day relationships with the customers by providing all of those services in the different geographies. As a result of that, we went on to secure a series of major contracts for us in the managed services space, and I know Jamie's going to talk a little bit more around that when he comes to his time on the panel. And that was a really big part for us in terms of helping us differentiate the services into that space, and where we really started to leverage technology and digital learning solutions to augment the way that we delivered these services. And it really helped us with a series of subsequent wins. We continue to increase that geographical footprint in the UK. We subsequently acquired another business in Aberdeen, SurviveX. We then acquired Petrofax UK training business in 2021. And then more recently, we acquired a specialist utilities and construction training business in the northwest of England and Scotland, to give us additional capability into adjacent sectors, including the utilities market and power generation. So I think expansion internationally always seemed like a natural progression after that UK expansion for our business, and we had a model. We have a philosophy that we feel will serve us well. The regions that we've expanded into recently, we were already well established in. We had sales offices in both the USA and MENA for a very long time, but being able to provide those holistic services that we have was critical to that ongoing strategy. So as you introduced at the beginning, we acquired Allstop, a US-based training organization, in June this year. And then very quickly afterwards, in September, we acquired GTSC in the Middle East. So it's been a very, very busy period for 3T. We've really enjoyed welcoming all of our new colleagues into the 3T family, and we've been able to share and collaborate on ways we can improve and continue to expand the business. The customer response so far has been fantastic. The expansion has been really welcomed, and it's already started to unlock a number of exciting opportunities for us.
Wow.
2025.
So that's a lot you've been, well, that's exhausting even listening to all the things you've been doing and the success obviously you've had. I assume though it's not always been a straightforward journey. What have been the key challenges that you've faced and the key decisions you've had to make to overall look back and say, it was a period of success? And it clearly was, but we all know businesses have gone through, and I definitely remember the challenging times. Absolutely, I've been around long enough. So how have you managed when it's not gone so well to make sure you've ended up getting to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's I think any business operating in our sector hasn't necessarily had a straightforward journey, and we're no different as a business. I mean, just in the 10 years that I've been here with 3T, some of the macro events we've had to deal with, we've had oil and gas downturns. We all very familiar with the COVID-19 challenges in 2020. There's been general difficult market conditions. We've got the energy transition journey that we're all trying to navigate. And as well as that, we've had, integrations of businesses into our business, which can be complicated. And you've got those general expansionary sort of growing pains, which we've had to contend with. But I think you've got to take each experience as an opportunity to learn, and take the lessons from each of those experiences to make sure that you're better and stronger in the future. I mean, there has been some really tough decisions. I recall that week in March 2020 when Boris went on the news and announced that we were all going into lockdown, and the leadership of our business faced some very challenging decisions at that time, because we're a very customer-centric organisation that requires footfall to perform, and that was a challenging time, but we got through it stronger and smarter. I think one other big recent decision for us, going back a little bit towards talking about AIS, was we were a business which was made up of a series of different brands. We had AIS, we had Survivex, we had Drilling Systems, we had our Transform business, and rebranding that organisation was a huge decision to make, because there was a lot of heritage in the brands that were there. But we felt a rebrand would really bring the group together and tell that story about the blend of training, technology, to provide transformational services. I think deciding where to go next is always a challenge in terms of decision making, because we, as all businesses, we only have finite resources, and we do have to think carefully about what is right for our customers in terms of how we can support them, but also what's right for us as a business, and that really shapes what we do next. I think one final thing on decision making, I think what I really enjoy is decisions that impact on people's lives and careers positively within our own organisation. And with international expansion, it does give great opportunities for colleagues, and nothing gives me greater pleasure than seeing a colleague relocate to a new geography to expand their own career. And I have been able to see colleagues go to the Middle East, go to the US, go to South America, and that's something I hope to continue to see.
That's a good segue then into your international, because you took a kind of domestic focus for your first 7 or 8 years, and then it became more international growth focus. So why the Middle East and why the US?
I mean, the Middle East and the US, they have very similar characteristics for us as 3T. The Middle East, it's been a long-standing market for 3T. I said at the beginning, we were present there before we purchased GTSC. We'd actually had an office in the region for more than 10 years. We'd sold a lot of technologies into the region through Drilling Systems. It's one of our sort of more mature markets for the installed simulation base that we have there. And we'd also made some progress around some of our tangential services in consultancy and digital services. And a lot of our customers are out there, and we wanted to continue to meet their needs in a more holistic way. And that is something that's always appealed to us. The market fundamentals are quite similar in terms of the UK oil and gas market particularly, and the product fit that we have fits nicely with what our customers need. And we believe we can add a lot of value to the services that GTSC provide in the region, as well as taking learnings from their business into our own. So that was a perfect fit for us. There was the same kind of entrepreneurial spirit, and they successfully carved out a leading position as a training provider in the Middle East. And as I alluded to before, we're already seeing the benefits of our own expansion there in such a short space, in 3 or 4 months. And we hope to announce some exciting news around contract wins early in the new year.
I was going to say, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, we often we don't want to give away our trade secrets. I hope we pause for breath for a moment, but that's not the nature of our business. We want to move forward, and we want to continue to grow. First and foremost, today we're focused on integrating the two businesses into 3T, and there's a hell of a lot going on behind the scenes to maximise the value for that, not just for us as 3T, but also for our customers. And our philosophy remains the same. We want to respond to customers' needs, and that will take us where we need to go. So there is lots of exciting things happening, and hopefully, our customers and partners will see that over the coming year.
And just finishing off then, before we move on to talk to Hani, it's amazing, I think, listening to the story and the success. But as I know you're thinking about the future as an integration period, but of course, opportunities will come along as well. What's the one thing right now that excites you about the future?
For me, the thing that excites me the most is it's the journey. I'm excited about the unknown and how we can have a positive influence on that. We've got that entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm confident that as things change, we're able to respond to it. And I look forward to seeing how our business changes and moves forward in the future. So that excites me.
And this idea of uncertainty and opportunity is something that I'm sure we'll talk about through the rest of this discussion. And by the way, all of those listening in, we'd love to get some questions from you. So put them into the chat. And I will either pick them out as we go through if they're directly relevant to what we're talking about at the time, or we've got 50 minutes at the end for general Q&A, because we'd love to get questions coming in from everybody listening in. So thank you, though. Really interesting to talk to Gavin. And now if I can ask Hani Sagat, who's Managing Director of MENA, to join us. Hi, Hani. Nice to see you. So let's just jump straight in then to tell us why 3T caught your eye and why you recently decided to join forces with them.
Okay, honestly speaking, I never thought that to be part of the training industry, but when I got the opportunity with 3T and I start to learn more about their regional strategy, their growth plan in the region, that got my attention. And when I start to learn more about 3T and their reputation globally by providing advanced training, utilizing the new technology to deliver that training, which is their approach and goals, kind of motivation for me, which is attract me to join and inspire to join the team.
Yeah, and so now your role is leading 3T's strategy for the Middle East. So how are you starting with that? What are the key tasks that you're going to focus on, and how are you hoping to kind of implement them in the region as quickly as possible?
As Gavin mentioned, that we just acquired GTSC, and my primary focus right now, how to integrate GTSC to be fit with the 3T strategy, and that which is required, align our training programs, expanding our capability for digital in the region, to expand and manage to have the demand of MENA customer. Also that help us to grow faster and faster by satisfy the market demand. In addition, we also looking to have a more partnership and see the stakeholders to create some foundation for our that acquisition.
Longer term, as our Middle East is an amazing market. I think at DIC we would say it's the best market in the world right now. Supply chain companies are, but we would say, booming there right now, even though it's not easy. So will you be focusing on developing new products and services in the region to take advantage of this strong market? And can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So to adapt with the MENA region, you need to have a special training program, because different clients have a different demand. With that booming, different sectors have different kind of training. So we need to utilize more technology, expand the capability for digital foundation, and that will be our window to grow more in the region.
Okay, so digital is what you think is what the market is looking for. And I guess if you were at ADIPEC a couple of weeks ago, that's certainly what Dr. Sultan at his opening was talking about, kind of moving from digital to almost AI as well in his language, I guess, as we're all feeling like we have to do now. And there are ambitious national strategies across the Middle East, aren't there? In country value being part of, the UAE strategy. Another example is Saudi's Vision 2030. Can you tell us a bit about this, these visions, and how you think country by country 3T can play its part? So growing and meeting those opportunities that you see, fitting those country requirements, but also taking advantage of the strengths of 3T.
Yeah, definitely. This initiative, it is a key. We believe it ourselves, we're playing a key role in that initiative by empowering and create an environment for local talent to start to be empowered by having a proper training, utilizing the technology, which is creating a lot of advantage. So last 10 years, Saudi Arabia was growing very fast, and that growing will create a significant demand for growing in the market. So to empower the local, that will be the way forward. And I believe utilizing technology will expedite to have the proper or enough talent to be covered the demand for upcoming period.
Where are you? Can I ask, Hani, where are you based now?
Saudi Arabia.
You're in Saudi, yeah. So you know the market well, of course. Do you see that as the single most exciting opportunity in the region, or do you just see opportunities in Oman and UAE and many other countries equally right now?
No, I mean Saudi Arabia specific, because Saudi Arabia, and suddenly we have this all giga project, all this construction in place, all renewable energy start to be entered to the market. So we can see a lot of demand to have a capable and skilled local to be covered that demand. Yeah.
So the coming together of 3T and GTSC, the joining of forces, how to take advantage of that? And I guess, what are you most looking forward to as those two organizations really come together? 2 + 2 = more than 4, right? So how are you hoping to bring that to life?
So basically, by utilizing the 3T global expertise and GTSC, they're present in the market and they understanding the market demand. So we can create special programs for learning, and also by utilizing technology that could be working together and have a strong foundation for our business in the region.
Amazing. Thank you, Hani. It's been really good to talk to you. And don't go anywhere, because we'll be coming back, getting you involved in the Q&A soon. And a reminder to everybody listening in, we'd love to get your questions and put them in the chat, and we'll get to them. Now I'm delighted to welcome Jamie Purvis to the discussion. Jamie is Managing Director of Managed Services. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Hi, Stuart. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. Congratulations on your recent promotion. Tell us a bit about what this new role is, and how it fits into this new period of growth, or another period of growth for the business.
Yeah, another period is probably a good explanation of it. No, thank you very much. I suppose there's a few key things of why we've chosen to make that decision. Number one is what we're talking about here just now is that international growth. Gavin talked about earlier on our customers speaking with us and collaborating with us about wanting us to be able to expand this service, not just as a service of managed services, but also in other regions whereby we have training facilities. So key to that was the acquisitions of GTSC and Allstop over in the US. So those were really customer driven as well, what our customer wanted us to do. Second thing, again, listening to our customers, we wanted to bring together other departments that help sit under the remit of managed services. So managed services is very external facing, but there's a lot of internal departments that support the managed services division. And we wanted to have them all under one roof, i.e. our managed service coordinators, our teams, our booking coordinators, our planning team, our administration team, all under the same banner and doing the exact same thing all over the UK, all those facilities that we mentioned earlier on. So that's an opportunity to bring everything all under one roof and under one management structure, which will benefit our customers.
So you've got quite a long to-do list by the sound of it. Where do you start?
Yeah, so there's 3 areas that I'm going to be starting on. Number one is speaking with our customers. I've worked with a lot of these people before, but have not spoken to them or seen them for a while because I've been looking after a different part of the business. So kind of speaking with them a lot more. Speaking with their internal teams. Some of these teams are maybe 3 or 4 teams all being brought together for the first time. So going through the new way of working, how that's going to benefit, what our key focuses and what our key KPIs are going to be, and towards that, so we can all work together for the best of our customers. We also have quite a few key improvements in those processes from a digital aspect that are due to be completed in December and some in January time as well. Some really key big ones for us that are going to really help drive process improvements and customer service. So those are the 3 areas that I'm focused on over the next couple of months, and then increase my to-do list from there.
I've got to ask, are you incorporating AI into digital services, or is that?
Again, I don't want to give any trade secrets, but that might be top of the list. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That's it. Yeah. Long term, though, how do you see this vertical of 3T growing, particularly internationally? Because obviously this is an internationally focused discussion. What's the international scope for growth here?
Yeah, the international scope of growth is really to focus on customers that are in the regions of where we are, right? So the Middle East and the US as well. That will then allow us to, have those better collaborative networks in those areas, speak with more customers that are there, speak with more vendors that obviously support the managed services journey for our customers. So those are really, really key areas for us. And as Gavin said, we've been in the Middle East for a long time, and not having facilities there from a training perspective is always been a bit of a holdback of what we can increase in managed services. And that has now gone, right? That's now conversations that we can have and speak more and more about the benefits to our customers around this.
So you've obviously got a lot of existing customers in these regions. How do you make sure as acquisitions come in and, obviously there's a period of integration, that you don't lose speed here, and you ensure that your existing customers continue to get the best service, the best training, and in fact, see all of these additional benefits coming through? It's a classic problem, isn't it? Sort of growth brings problems with it. So how are you going to manage that?
Yeah, of course it does. So these have been loyal customers of ours for, almost a decade for some of them, the way we've provided this service. The way that we're doing this going forward is we're obviously utilizing the systems and the key expertise that we have here in the UK, but we're going to be setting up managed services hubs of coordinators, training in those regions to be able to support those key contracts. So there'll be a knowledge transfer period. There'll be requirements for learning the way that we work from the UK that we know does work. But in essence, we are going to have those kind of local requirements in those regions where we're supporting. So we're not losing anything from the UK at all.
Yeah, and obviously you've got local content requirements, I guess. So this will help you to meet some of those local content requirements as you set up these hubs.
Yeah, of course. That's obviously key for us as well. We want to be able to meet those requirements, and we're a training organization. So there's no need that we can't train anybody to be able to work towards being, some of the best in managed services. It's what we do. It's really about hiring the right attitude, the right capabilities, and the right skill set to start with.
Are you saying that the train is that kind of under the topic of managed services that you're responsible for? Are you seeing digital training really step up now as becoming the cost-effective, more sort of language effective, more tailorable solution for people's training needs, or is it still face-to-face training that your customers are looking for? What's that trend, and is that the sort of thing that is setting you apart from your competitors in this space?
Look, there's absolutely no doubt that COVID helped drive acceleration around some digital solutions, right? So there's no doubt about that. Things that wouldn't have been thought about before because it was too difficult, now we're being thought about. So that's definitely helped accelerate that. In terms of the mix, it is very, very much customer dependent. Some customers have a real breadth of what they want to do digitally, and we collaborate and work with them on that. Some customers have a different preference. If you looked maybe 10 years ago, the only digital kind of aspect you had in your toolbox was a bunch of e-learning, right? And e-learning is a fantastic tool, but even that nowadays has been upgraded. You mentioned AI, whereby you have solutions that can basically ask you a bunch of questions, learn what you know, and then tailor the content to you because it already knows what you know. And we use some of those tools within our own training, which is fantastic. Virtual reality is something that a lot of our customers speak to us about, and where is the best application of it? How should you use that effectively? So digital solutions is a big piece, but it's one thing in the toolkit. It's not the answer to everything. It depends on what the solution you're trying to solve. So we work a lot with our customers to go, what's the problem? Here's some example of solutions. We don't walk in there and go, here's a bunch of VR you want to buy. It's not what we're about.
Are you, I mean, managed services, I guess, is a kind of solutions mindset then. So
Yeah.
do you find a big part of success for you is tailoring solutions uniquely to each client? Is that increasingly what you do, or is the best approach a plug and play? You know, kind of here's a wide range of services that are available and platforms available and courses available. You know, and then therefore it's self-tailoring. What's the direction you're taking there?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a mix, because the customers are so different. Right? So some customers have a requirement whereby, you know, they have a very kind of cyclical nature because they deal a lot with shutdowns. So all of a sudden you've got a big intake of people and then a big drop off of people. That brings its own problem and has X solution. Other customers are very, very steady state, and they have more time to be able to strategically plan in the future of what they might have. So I wouldn't say there's a one size fits all. I would always say it's about speaking to the customer, listening to them, and offering what our solutions could be. And again, it's about, we have a lot of options there.
So my last question then, I suppose, is around a trend that I'm hearing from a lot of the supply chain, a lot of operators actually as well, which is they cannot hire the people that they used to be able to hire with ready now skills. So a lot of organizations are faced with having to do a kind of hiring people perhaps earlier in their career and then creating and crafting culture and their own training programs. How are you, that sounds like an opportunity for 3T, but I guess also a threat potentially. So how are you incorporating this trend of it's so hard to find ready now people now that then just need developmental training? Instead, there's a huge journey of training required. Opportunity or threat for you, and how are you approaching that?
I think we always see it as an opportunity. And obviously we deal with a lot of different sectors. So Gavin mentioned earlier about the business that we bought in the northwest of England, and we hear a lot about now about Skills England wanting to shorten apprenticeships. And the reason why they're wanting to do that is because they want people back to work as quick as possible. And are these apprenticeships too long, and are they off-putting? So we're doing the exact same thing of speaking with a lot of governmental bodies, speaking a lot of with accreditation bodies to try and help. You know, we're the training provider. We're going to be the ones that delivers to the end. This is what does make sense. This is what doesn't make sense. This is how it might be applicable. And one of the things is really going into schools and talking about these opportunities that exist, because really not a lot of people talk about apprenticeships everywhere. So because of that, people don't know it's an opportunity. They see it as if they're not going to higher education, what do I do? Apprenticeships is a fantastic solution to that, and being able to accelerate apprenticeships is a part of that, while also trying to recognize there is a skilled workforce there, and are we giving them the credit that they've got, and should we have a better solution or a more different solution to be able to prove that? And that's where we work a lot with regulatory bodies around that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jamie, for being so open about some of this. I mean, it sounds like listening to you, there's so much expertise, not just in the training element of what you do, but almost in the policy side of, you know, how to ensure the right pipeline of skills is coming through for the future as well. Is that something that you're seeing a more requirement for? Is really clear thinking about the future of the skills space?
Yeah, I think that's been driven by the gap you mentioned before. It might not have been something that customers and companies would have thought as much about, because there was always a natural pipeline coming in. But depending on where you are in the world, and depending on where you are in the UK, that pipeline is not as easily readily available as it used to be.
Yeah, fascinating. Thank you so much, Jamie. That's really, really interesting. And we'll come back to you, of course, when we get to the general Q&A. And everybody listening, please do send through your questions. Looking forward to having general Q&A soon. So now, delighted to welcome Chris Buse to the discussion. Chris is Senior Solutions Manager for the UK. Hi, Chris, how are you?
Hello. Hi. Pleasure to be here, Stuart.
Nice to see you. So you've been with 3T for, it says here, many years. So I'm not going to ask you how many. You must have seen it change and grow over time, and obviously huge progress. What, in your opinion, though, makes 3T, something special? What, the company that is today? Talk us through.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to share. I've been with the organisation originally with the SurviveX brand since 2011 when it actually opened. So day one, empty centre. At that time, that was a much like Gavin mentioned about AIS. That was a privately run organisation, which was eventually sold into the 3T family. To me, I think it's that continued positive ascendancy that the business has been on. Perhaps apart from maybe some of this taking the foot off the gas during downturns, COVID, that type of thing, we've always been on the up. We've always been looking for ways to grow the business, introduce new products and services. I can't recall a time that there hasn't been stuff going on. I mean, this has obviously been a particularly busy year with international expansion, but year in, year out, there's always been something fresh, something new that's been going on in the organisation, which kept everyone engaged, kept our clients engaged, and obviously continuing to want to do business with us. It's been exciting, and there's no sign of that slowing down anytime soon by the look of it.
No, and now I guess you're spending a lot of time in the US following the recent acquisition of All Stop.
Yes.
Tell us about that, your experience of working now more in the US, that market. Where will you be putting your efforts, to address the opportunities in that market?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, going back to something Gavin had mentioned around the opportunity for personal growth. I mean, that's been a big part for me in the fact that I've been able to get involved in projects like this, and that's probably why I've spent the best part of 14 years with the organisation now for those opportunities. But it was always a natural progression for us, like some of the guys have said, to move into some of the other big sort of core market regions, such as the Middle East and the US being my particular interest. It's got synergies when SurviveX started. It's fresh, it's new. There's a wealth of opportunity out there, but this time round we're building on a bedrock of it, a foundation of experience through our drilling systems brand, who have been in the US and are well established globally for a number of years, but equally so the guys at All Stop, who are a very well respected, established organisation. So we can use those foundations to really kick on and bring the wider 3T offering to that market. I'm going to be focusing on a few different key areas. One of those being to enlighten existing and new and prospective clients to what 3T can do for them, and that's through leveraging some of our UK relationships, for which there's a base of operation in the US. The All Stop existing client base, they're working with in excess of 400 companies a year already, so there's a wealth of opportunity there to bring additional products and services to them. And then obviously, of course, some of the domestic-based stuff in the US that 3T as a training organisation hasn't really been involved in to date, and obviously the introduction of our two facilities, provides us that physical infrastructure to start to chip into that as well.
US market though is that's a fascinating market with a fascinating political environment as well. So when you look at that, you must be even more excited but also thoughtful around how to take advantage of the US market. So kind of what excites you about this growth, and where do you go next?
I mean, there are similarities to the UK in terms, for oil and gas. There's a business as usual point, but I'm not going to get into the well documented challenges we've got over this side of the pond at the moment. But in the US, they're predicting a business as usual sort of sustainment of oil and gas activity. There are new fields coming online.
Baby, drill. Yeah,
exactly that. Those new projects are replacing some of those that are perhaps in their decline. So there's that sort of sustainment in that respect. So plenty of opportunity for us to continue to provide services in that space. It'll be interesting to see in the months to come with the obviously the change in leadership in the States, how that how that plans out. I was actually in Houston during the election day, so that was a spectacle in itself to see that unfold. And then, of course, we've obviously got the offshore wind front. Offshore wind in the States is, a little bit behind the UK in terms of where it is today. But there are obviously some significant projects coming online just now. You've got Vineyard, Revolution, which are essentially just starting this year, next year, and then Empire, Kitty Hawk, that type of thing, which are going to be coming online that sort of 2030 onwards. So lots of opportunity for us as a wind training provider, as much as the oil and gas side too.
I don't want to pin you down on UK environment, but I'm interested to get your perspective, having worked so much in the US recently. What do you see as the key differences right now between working in the UK and working in the US?
Yeah, I mean, it's been part of my my fact-finding mission during the few trips that I've had over the past few months to really get under the skin of the needs and wants of the US market. We're still talking about safety critical, highly hazardous industries, much like we serve in the UK, albeit with some slight variations to regulatory, variations, industry standards, that type of thing. But there is still very much a demand for quality, innovative training solutions to sort of support continued workforce development. That's what we're getting. People are really receptive to what we're bringing to the table in terms of 3T solutions, whether that be, quality instructor-led training, blended offerings like Jamie mentioned, as well as some of the more innovative technology-backed solutions as well. There are differences in terms of cultural attitudes towards training, but I would say, generally speaking, there's still a big impetus on safety, workforce development, and continued training and confidence of people. So I think we're well placed to be able to get into that.
And do you see overall US providing a huge growth opportunity over the next 5 years?
100%, yeah.
Okay. Can you put some kind of scale onto that? Are you thinking like it's like double the business in 5 years, or a lot more than that? Or what's your sense, of the opportunity?
You're putting me on the spot there, Stuart. We have ambitious yet very attainable plans to significantly grow the all-stop business as it is today through increased course offerings, 3T based solutions, as well as increasing our physical footprint in the States in the coming period as well. But we can't see much more than that at the moment in terms of that.
Okay, and finally, US. We've talked here about kind of opportunities for growth. Which industries specifically are you most excited about for growth? Is it oil and gas because of drill baby drill, or is it, or are you looking beyond the energy markets into other types of markets? And I think service offerings. What service offerings are you think will grow in that type of market?
We're going to continue to service our core markets, which would be oil and gas, very closely followed by what we do in the wind sector, sort of GWO kind of training, that type of thing. We see the oil and gas side as a maintenance in terms of continuing to service that, much like we do in the UK, whereas the wind side will be a growing and emerging piece for us. There's a lot of activity on the Atlantic coast just now, which we're very interested in, and we hope to get in the mix in terms of provision of services and solutions to support that. But a big part of the 3T success story has been our ability and desire to move into adjacencies. Obviously, we've ventured into construction, power, that sort of thing, and nothing's off the table. I think, like Gavin had mentioned, our first port of call is to establish our recent acquisition, build that up. But, as part of that, we'll be speaking to new people, new customers, new opportunities are going to present themselves, and that the entrepreneurial spirit of 3T, will play a part to that to, support continued divestment of our service offering and growth to that as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm tempted to ask whether you see the US market as a better market than the UK, but perhaps when we get into that question, let's bring everybody back in now, because we've got 50 minutes left to go. And I already feel like we've covered a lot of ground. welcome back, everybody. This is the chance now for people listening in to send in their questions. So we'd love to get some questions. Make them as hard as you can. Let's make these people work. I'm actually going to start with a question that came in from Lindsay Jarvis. Thank you, Lindsay. How easy or difficult is it to do business in the Middle East directly as opposed to having a local entity or working with a partner? So yeah, that's the three options, isn't it? Remote, fly in and out, or have a partner, or invest locally and hire people locally. What's your recommendation? What's your experience of that? So I guess, Hanny, that's one for you to start with.
Yeah, so Middle East have a huge opportunity, and there are different methods to conduct business. So all what option you can say it is kind of applicable, but again, depend on the market you are targeting and what is the kind of business you are developing in the region. So sometimes it is good to be standalone and conduct the business alone, and sometimes it's good to be as a partner or in a JV. So I think it's a mixed combination because Middle East have a huge opportunity and have a different way and different project and different kind of business can be run.
And what about the US? What's your then view on that, Chris? Is it in the US better to start with a partner or acquire or what?
I mean, I would certainly say that the ability to come in and work with the all-stock team has provided a fantastic platform for us to kick on from. Coming in perhaps as a fresh organization, wet behind the ears would probably be slightly tougher. We've got that platform to build from, and we've got an existing client base to get started with, not to mention the fact that our drilling systems organization are very well established in the US and have been for a number of years as well. So I would definitely say the partner model that we've sort of adopted through acquisition in the Middle East and the US has been, has proven to be very successful so far.
Okay, let's have a branding question here, because it's obviously you're in an acquisition journey now, and I guess there could be more to come. But obviously you're in an integration process, as you've talked about. Does that mean rebranding now under one 3T name? Can you talk us through that?
I'll take that one. It's a shame Annabelle's dropped off because this would have been perfect for her. I think going back to what I said about rebranding the organisation when we took the decision to rebrand to 3T, you have to think carefully about the impact it will have on your business in the particular region in which you work in, the brand strength, etc. And other potential implications, particularly around bureaucracy, customer registration, that kind of stuff. So we will be rebranding our organisations that we've purchased. We're probably going to take a slightly different route with each of them. Certainly in the near term, within the next couple of months, we should see, or certainly by January, we'll start to see some of that rebranding activity happening, and we've got some launch activities planned in the new year to coincide with that. So yeah, we want to respond sensitively to the situation that we find in each of the individual businesses, and you'll kind of see that coming through in the coming weeks.
Okay, great. Let's get a little bit political. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's talk about UK politics. Are the Labour government's policy changes around energy, from a business point of view, is that helpful for growth or hindering growth from your point of view?
I'll take that one as well. And I'm not going to get into the political arguments because that's not for me to comment on. But as a business, I talked before about responding to customer needs, and we will continue to do that. Our customers have their own journey in terms of energy transition, and that's been going on a lot longer than the last 12 months. Many of our customers have been thinking about their own strategies to move into things like wind and the utilities markets, and we've supported them in that, and we'll continue to do that. The UK market is different to, say, the Middle East or the US, where it can be a little bit more volatile related to drilling activity. The UK is very much a producing market, and many of the statistics would suggest that there's going to be a gradual decline in that activity, but it will be replaced by other things, and we fully expect our customers to move into that space as much as we will move into that space. So, we're not concerned. There's opportunity for us. Change brings opportunity, and we look forward to continue to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think talking about change, of course, technology is a big part of your strategy, I'm sure, going forward. And we talked a bit about digital, about AI, and so on. Is technology going to be a key area of investment for the business then going forward in order to try and take advantage of the opportunities? Can you share a bit about, where's the innovation going to come from and how you're going to differentiate against others?
I'll take this one as well. Look, we're 3T, training, technology, transformation. We live and breathe the adoption of technologies to help grow the business and make sure that we're able to provide differentiated and augmented solutions for our clients. We're constantly looking at new ways of bringing technology into the business. Jamie alluded to things like artificial intelligence that can help our own internal processes, as well as helping our delegates learn and engage with our learning experiences. As you probably appreciate, the kind of the demographic of the workforce is changing. The younger generation are coming into the workforce, and their experiences of education and the utilization of digital tools in their learning environment. I've got a 13-year-old son, so I know a lot of it's tablet based, a lot of it's sort of short, sharp YouTube video type style, and we as a learning organisation have got to we've got to adopt those types of learning technologies. So, we will be looking to embed additional things as they emerge, as well as the investments we'll be doing in our own technologies, particularly within the simulation business, where we see opportunities. The final point on that is the two acquisitions we've made. We do want to cross-pollinate in terms of the digital services. So, there was digital services that existed in each business, and we want to make sure that we're leveraging the value from both of those into each of all of our businesses.
Let's have a question here for Chris then. Chris, are you seeing the digital sort of portfolio of opportunities as providing the biggest solution set for your clients? Is that where you're seeing the growth coming from, or can you share a bit about where are you seeing the growth coming from?
It sort of just falls on nicely from some of the stuff Gavin had mentioned there. We're a training organization by definition, so ultimately our objective is to provide the best learning experience for our customers' personnel. Now, that undoubtedly has evolved over time. It's evolved significantly since I got into this game, over 10 years ago. And, that will continue to accelerate in the years to come. The digital innovation piece has been very well received in the US market. When we talk about the US market, there are some other challenges, maybe not so prevalent in the UK. The geography, for example, is massive. People have to travel extensive distances to access training. So that's when some of our blended learning solutions really come into their own, allowing the individuals to perhaps do some remote learning, self-taught, self-study before perhaps attending one of our training centres to undertake some practical training, the technology piece will continue to grow. The customers over there, it's a new service line for the Allstock guys. The Allstock company are very much a delivery of training, some e-learning, and some practically delivered stuff. We're going to build out both of those areas, but equally bring new innovation to the market. And from what I've seen so far, people are very responsive to that. It's something fresh and new in many instances, and so we believe we're going to be, hopefully, come time, market leading in that space.
We've got a question that builds on that, actually, from Abdul Rahman Taha. So thank you, Abdul, for this. From a global perspective, does 3T see room for expansion in the technology simulator and AI part of the business? I don't think we've talked about simulators, especially with what's happening in oil and gas and the exploration sector right now, with lots of digital innovation going on. I think, as I mentioned earlier on in the discussion, certainly Dr. Sultan at ADIPEC, when he opened up, was all about AI and the opportunities for that. So it's definitely an opportunity. It's definitely what clients, I guess, are talking about. I don't know whether that's something, Jamie, that you could touch on from the point of view how you're incorporating it into the managed services approach.
Yeah, I'll answer that in two ways. So I'll answer the simulator side first. So to answer the question, yes is the simple answer. So yeah, we're going to continue to look at expansion and investment in our simulators. We continue to do that. If you look at where our simulator technology was maybe 8 years ago, it's had to move with the times. Obviously touching upon what's happening in the oil and gas sector, exploration, wells are becoming more difficult to drill. Technology's picking up with that. Our simulator is fully capable of doing MPD, complex wells, everything else, which wouldn't have been the case maybe 10 years ago. So we're always having to move our simulators and our technology with the times. That comes from collaboration with our customers and with academics and things like this as well to make sure we can do that. So that's that piece. In terms of AI, there's loads of different ways that we're looking to utilize AI. We are like a lot of other companies just now that are looking at how we utilize AI, what's the best way, what's going to give the best impact for our customers, what's going to benefit them, and can we build things that they also want to be able to use? And what's the best way through that? Is it building it ourselves? Is it partnering? How do we do it, and what's the biggest impact? Even from how do we share information communication for new starts? How do we train people? How can they find information? As opposed to being a kind of training classroom environment, how can they actually find out what they already know and then piecemeal the bits that they don't? And do people learn differently now? Well, we know they do. They learn differently because they want information in short, sharp bursts. People don't want 5 days worth of information. I'll give you an example. We kind of all make the assumption that Gavin alluded to his son, 13 years old, great on tablets, great on technology. I stood in one of our classrooms with a bunch of new apprenticeships starting who all you would assume have fantastic digital skills. Well, they do. If it's a telephone or a tablet, ask them to log into a laptop and write something on Word. Not got a clue. So we now have to show them how to do digital skills because as part of the apprenticeship, the people that they are reporting to are going to want them to be able to write a report of some description. For their apprenticeship, they have to be able to write a report. It's not part of the curriculum just now, but now we're having to add that in and give that additional support because the assumption that they're fantastic with technology, well, only with technology that people are using just now, which is tablets and phones.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It sounds like an amazing story that you thank you for sharing it. I want to just wrap up by asking each of you to give us perhaps a 30-second summary of what summing up where you've got to and what you see for the future for your part of the business. So Gavin, I'll finish with you. So let's start with Hani. So give us a kind of 30-second wrap up, please.
So I think I'm an exciting journey right now with this acquisition for GTC. A lot of stuff need to be done, and we can see a lot of market potential, and we can play a big role in different nation strategy, especially for Vision 2030 and UE initiatives.
Thank you. Then let's go, Jamie, to you.
Yeah, so my focus within managed services is really going to be bringing those groups together over the next couple of months, and then our focus for the future is going to be what is the next customer solution that we want, and we know that's going to involve digital and expanding managed services to some of our newer regions.
Yeah, thank you. And Chris?
Yeah, we're obviously hugely excited to be venturing into our new territories. Obviously, my interest being the US. That's been really, really good so far, and we look forward to starting to build out the development plan in terms of bringing those services and solutions over the pond to both new and existing clients in the coming period. So I'm really excited about that happening.
And thank you. And finally, Gavin, to wrap up.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. Really just to close out on what a lot of my colleagues have said here, we really want to focus on integrating the businesses that we've purchased and leveraging the value that we can create across the product range and the services, and to continue to delight our customers. And the byproduct of that will be we'll continue to grow our business and be as successful as we've been over the last 10, 12, 14 years. So yeah, an exciting 2025 ahead.
That's definitely the case, isn't it? And I just wanted to thank all four of you, and also Annabelle, of course, who so eloquently opened us up at the beginning, for really sharing so openly, I think, some insights into your success so far and actually your plans for the future. So it just leaves me to close by thanking again also the wonderful people at OGV for hosting this OGV Live. And when I sort of summarize a little bit of what I've heard from the 3T team and what they're doing, perhaps you could sort of summarize it a little bit as, firstly, have a clear mission and focus on your differentiation. 3T is a global leader in high impact training and blended learning for hazardous and highly regulated industries. And I think when you've listened to them over the last hour, that's really clear. They know their strategy really well, and they're very clear on their growth model. I think the second thing I've heard is it's all about customers. And 3T are clearly embarking on a period of sustained global growth, but it's about their customers, and they will ensure that their existing customers benefit from this growth, not just the new ones. And then of course, that will open up new opportunities and new relationships as well. And I suppose the third point, and it is international growth discussion that we've had today, is about thinking global, but still it's about acting local. And I think whilst 3T have clearly embarked on a global growth plan, and it's going very well, they have employed local strategies and local people. They've embraced the local culture. They've supported the growth of local workforces across their key regions within the UK, the US, and now the Middle East. And so it's a great example, I think, of how to have a blended series of strategies to grow your business, provide resilience, and challenges and fun for the team. And that's the final thing I'd say is I like the culture of this business. Very knowledgeable, but also passionate about the business. So thank you again to the team. Thank you to everybody at OGV for your support. Just leaves me to wrap up and thank everybody again for listening in and for your questions. And I hope you will stay safe. Thank you very much.